I've made a career, well, multiple careers, out of following society's expectations and then flouting society's expectations. I've made 3 career switches over the past 20 years. And the times in my life when I've been most unhappy are the times when I was following the script. And whether we realize it or not, society gives us a script. And in this video, I want to talk about the expectations, hidden or explicit, that drive our decisions. Because very often it's those social expectations that get us to a place whereby we don't recognize ourselves anymore. We feel lost, we feel stuck, we get to a place whereby we don't actually know what we want. We're just following this path that was written for us. And that is the problem. So in this video, I just want to take a big step back and deconstruct what's going on. Because I think one of the biggest breakthroughs for me, and one of the things that's helped me with my mental health the most, is understanding the huge impact that society has upon the expectations we place upon ourselves. At the moment, I am coaching individuals, and I see individuals on a weekly basis. And with all of my clients, we talk about different themes that have an impact upon where they are now and where they want to be. And one of the themes that I talk about is very much this idea about expectations. If you would like more support or to find out more about how this coaching works, then click the link below. It'll take you to a page whereby you can book in for an hour consultation. We'll get to know each other and see if we can work together and see if that's a fit. And then we can book in for a block of 6 sessions. In this video, I want to talk about why it might be that you feel like you've lost your identity. Like you're not really sure which decisions are your own anymore. For me, one of the big breakthroughs was when I was following the path that I believed I was supposed to be on. So for many of us who are privileged enough and fortunate enough, here in the UK, we go to school, we then go to university, we get ourselves a degree, then we might do a master's degree, then we go and get ourselves a job in some sort of profession, ideally to do with our degree, but often is the case that once we have a degree, it, regardless of what it might be in, it's a springboard into a professional job and the beginning of a career. And that career will have perks and benefits and a salary, and it will have a pathway. That career will have a clear pathway of how you're going to rise up the ranks, of how you're going to develop. And the way in which that's measured is very usually on your role, your status, your title, might even be where you sit in a particular room, and salary, how much you're going to earn, your bonus, your benefits. And so for me, I've kind of spent the past 20 years ping-ponging between the conventional path, which is this school, university, professional job, promotion, 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 and this other non-conventional, which is probably the school, gap year, university, labour-intensive, non-professional job, back into professional job, and so on. And it's because of that ping-ponging that I've been lucky enough to see both sides. And I realise now, working one-to-one with many very successful professionals who have been in their career for 10 years or more, that they're finding themselves totally lost and stuck, wondering why they are still doing the same thing in the same way, just more of it, 10 years in, being rewarded financially for doing so, but not actually feeling like they're progressing or getting anywhere in life. And so let's talk about society expectations. I think expectations in our society, in the Western culture, is very much formed around kind of this idea that you go to school, you get an education, you go to college or university, you get a job, you work 9 to 5, you try and buy your own house, you then create a family, you pay into a pension, then you retire, and that's your lot. And that's life. And within that, you find joy in your hobbies, you find joy in your weekends, in your 2-week holiday abroad in the summer, in your traditions such as Christmas or Thanksgiving, and your retirement is there for you to reap the fruits of your labour. And if you veer off this path, if you don't go to university, if you drop out of school, if you don't work in a professional job, but instead maybe try to work for yourself, if you don't pay into a pension pot, if you retire early instead of at the retirement age, if you live in a lovely hot country instead of just visiting one for 2 weeks, then society judges you. Society will judge you. And it's really important, I think, for our mental health that we're able to make a distinction between what is our instinct, what we really feel, and what society tells us to feel. Over a year ago, I quit my corporate job. I'd worked for Deloitte for 4.5 years. I'd been promoted twice. I was managing people. I was delivering projects. I was running analyst induction programs for graduates of the company. By all accounts, I was successful. I was earning a really great wage. I had fantastic benefits, including private healthcare. I have a beautiful family. I own my own wonderful home with my wife. By all accounts, I was successful. As far as society is concerned, I had it made. And yet, I quit. At the very top, probably at the time when I'd made most success in a short amount of time, probably at a time when I had the greatest prospect and momentum of going even further with the firm, I quit. Against all other expectations, against society expectations, firms' expectations, maybe even friends and family expectations. It just isn't the thing to do. Society tells us, no, once you've got a good thing going, you stay in that. And yeah, come on, yeah, it might be uncomfortable, it might be difficult at times, and yeah, okay, maybe you don't agree with your boss all the time, but come on, you've got a good thing going here. This ticks all the boxes of society. Don't rock the boat. Stay in it. You've got a good life. This is what it's all about. Keep going. But my instinct, a feeling inside me, knew that however much I did enjoy and however much I was grateful for all of the wonderful things it gave me, I was not fulfilled. I believed there was more. I believed that I had more to give, and I believed that there was more meant for me. And that's difficult, because when you make a decision that shocks everybody else, you will always have doubt. In fact, my director at the time in the firm, she said to me, I admire your decision to quit and resign. And she said to me, you're either brave or stupid. And I'm sure she's right. I'm sure she's right. But very much we are all conditioned by society, from the time that we kind of grow up and we see our parents and we gain this learned behavior, all the way through to when we're in the workplace and rubbing shoulders with people who might have been at the firm or the company for 25, 30 years, who are well and truly ingrained and part of the fabric of that institution. We learn, we see it, we observe this expectation, this path that's been like paved out before us with these huge arrows pointing forward saying, yeah, this is the way to go. And the idea of changing course, the idea of then picking up a shovel and digging your own path through the undergrowth in a different direction, where there are no signs, no map, no guarantee of a destination, is completely unbelievable, unfathomable to most people. And it's unfathomable because you're going against society's expectations. And to get to a place whereby we can truly tune in to our own instinct and get to a place whereby we can trust in ourselves to make a decision that is not clouded by society's expectations is a difficult process. It takes time. You know, we have to try to sit back and find some space. If you would like more support or to find out more about how this coaching works, then click the link below. It'll take you to a page whereby you can book in for an hour consultation. We'll get to know each other and see if we can work together and see if that's a fit. And then we can book in for a block of 6 sessions.